we'll be able to start this up. So, blue team has banned out Lee Sin, Lucian, and LeBlanc. I actually agree with those bans in terms of Lucian, Lee Sin. LeBlanc, I mentioned in the previous game that I don't think she's worth the ban anymore. But she is very snowbally, she's very frustrating to play against, so I can understand why people might not want to deal with it. Same as last game, I don't agree with Cassian since the nerfs, I don't see much point in playing him. Maybe that's just me. Maybe he's a perma-pick and ban in low elo. I'm not that familiar. Same with Braum. I think there are much better solo queue supports right now and much better bans. For example, Morgana. I would have expected Morgana banned out. In terms of picks, looks like we're going to have a Katarina versus Annie. Annie generally wins that matchup if she's able to stay even or ahead, but as soon as Katarina gets an advantage, it can be very, very painful. Top lane is going to be a Nasus versus Ryze. Really depends on how well Nasus is able to control the lane, how well he's able to stack his Q, and how well Ryze manages the lane. So they're both have the potential to win top lane. Ryze should have the advantage just because of range, but let's face it, Nasus, he doesn't have to win lane. He just has to be able to farm or survive lane. So that's going to be something to keep an eye on. A little bit less common pick, we have a Quinn bot lane. That's going to be going with a Morgana support, and they're going to be fighting a Caitlyn Thresh. Caitlyn Thresh I actually quite like. I mentioned that in the last game where I wasn't a fan of her with Leona just because of the all-in playstyle, but Thresh has more options. She has poke, has the shield. There are many different playstyles when you're using Thresh in order to set up an advantage. Morgana Quinn, actually, it's not bad, because one of Quinn's main issues is that she can be interrupted during her combo. Black Shield's going to stop that. And the lockdown is going to be long enough for Quinn to be able to pull off a full combo, and she does a lot of damage. I mean, there's no denying Quinn has damage. It's reliability issues that really make her not a popular AD carry. I would argue that she's still better as a top laner, but that's to each their own. That's going to then be in a Xin jungle versus Fiddle jungle. A lot of that's going to boil down to how well can Fiddlesticks land his ult. If Fiddlesticks lands a really good grouped ult, let's say, for example, an Annie flash ult into a Fiddle ult into a Thresh hook box combo with Nasus peeling or even like interrupting the backline, they're going to just clean up, right? But if they miss that combo, if Fiddle miss ult, waste it, or something like that, well then, the only thing they have to shut down Katarina is Annie ult, which has to have specific numbers of stacks, or the Thresh. So there's going to be a lot of pressure on Thresh to be able to cancel out these Katarina engages, assuming she gets ahead. Both teams have some really good AoE. Morgana flash ult Hourglass, Katarina ult comboing on top of that, and Ryze with his ult being AoE. Quinn being able to then duel and having some decent AoE. Xin having his ult and his dueling potential. I mean, both teams have quite good potential to scale into the late game and have quite good potential for team fights if they pull off their combo right. In terms of reliability, though, I'm going to have to give it over to Purple Team, only because Annie, okay, it's pretty hard to mess up an Annie combo, right? Unless they flash out and you, like, use your ult in the wrong place, you're probably going to land something. Nasus, let's face it, in low elo, you're probably not going to stop him from farming Q. I expect Nasus to be able to stack up quite well. If he doesn't, then that's something that he's going to have to work on. Shutting down Nasus is a very specific acquired skill that a lot of people aren't familiar with. So there's going to be a lot of pressure on them to deal with that. The second thing, we'll wait until this is showing so I can actually talk about it. Finally loading now. Sorry about that. Caitlyn is a very, very consistent AD carry. Thresh is a very consistent support. There's much less pressure on them to perform in comparison to, okay, Ryze. Ryze has to position perfectly. He has to harass really, really well. He has to stop Nasus from Q farming. That's some pressure on him, whereas Nasus is just like, freeze the wave and Q farm. Quinn has to perform essentially perfectly. There's going to be that pressure on her to make sure she lands her combos properly. Xin, he's going to be forced to land really good counter jungle. He's going to be forced to land good ganks. Katarina is going to be forced to outplay Annie, survive pre-6, land some good roam. There's just so much more that goes into blue team succeeding in comparison to purple team really having to try if they want to fail their lanes. So we'll see how this goes, though. I'm very excited to watch some of these matchups because they're things that you don't normally get to watch. Okay, so Troll, you're saying that you already have that prize? If you would like. Oh, never mind. It hasn't been rolled. I apologize. I was going to say, though, if you do win the raffle and you do not want the prize, please let us know and we can just re-roll it and give it to someone else. What are my PC specs? It's an i7 quad... No, it's an i5. It's a current generation i5 quad-core processor. My old one was an i7. I'm using a, I believe, 7950 video card. I'm using, I think, like 8 gigs of RAM and a shitty backup hard drive while I wait for my SSD to come back. My hard drives all got fried, and I'm still waiting on the replacement for my SSD. So my performance right now is absolute shit. Oh, sorry, you're saying that you have a code. Yeah, if you have an extra code, feel free to private message it to us, because we can use it for future giveaways. We really do appreciate that when viewers are able to help us out with the giveaways. Okay, so we're loading into the game here. Since the nerf, I'm assuming no Katarina is really going to go with Doran's shield, unless she's versus like a Yasuo or something like that. So boots, pretty much expected. Ryze going with tier rush build, pretty standard. I'm surprised though that Nasus is going with the Null Magic Mantle. I've seen some Nasuses go with like a flask if they really want to survive versus heavy harass. It could be though that he's trying to rush out like early Merc Treads or trying to rush out early. I don't even know what else he would build with that. Like Merc Treads, he's not going to build a Hex Drinker, I wouldn't think. He's not going to build a Chalice. So I think it has to be Merc Treads. I can't think of anything else he'd use it for. Sorry, I'll finish lining up these champions. Fiddle, it's perfectly fine to start with Amp Tome on him, but because of the ability power stacking that he can get from going the jungle item, I'm a little surprised that he's going for the Amp Tome. That's all. Xylard, yes, we are doing a workshop. We're here to identify mistakes in their gameplay and offer them constructive, polite criticism. So basically, identify areas they should be practicing. All of these videos are then uploaded to YouTube so that he can watch them back and improve over time. We do these every week. We're actually expanding to twice a week right now, every Sunday and every Friday. Unfortunately, I'm still having the bug with spectator mode where I can't move around the map properly, so I apologize if things are a little bit wonky in terms of movements. So again, I'm surprised no one's doing the Tribush bait. Looks like, yeah, Caitlyn went down and set a trap, but they didn't camp it. Generally speaking, you want to just sit in this bush, and as soon as they try and check it, boom, Thresh Hook, free kill, or Summoner skills. It's one of the best ways to get ahead. Katarina rushing for the early level 2. I like that decision. Just push in as much as you can. I'll just double check here. We're hosting these on North America right now. So Annie started W and stacked up in base, but then immediately missed her W in lane. That's not something you should be missing. I'm not sure if she's using Smartcast or what. She might want to consider not using Smartcast, though, if that becomes something that she's missing more often than not. Alright, so when you're versus a Katarina, you want to really avoid standing next to minions, because if not, the dagger will bounce to you and get free harass. So that's something to keep in mind. I'm not seeing it happen just yet, but just generic advice. In bot lane, I want to see which team is going to hit level 2 first. Whoever hits level 2 first pretty much wins the lane. So Quinn looks to be pushing in for it. They land the binding, not onto the AD carry though, and not on the same page as the AD carry. You really need to push that advantage. You need to force the level 2 fight, and that's really what sets up your advantage in lane. So Nasus looks to have tried to shove in order to get level 2 first, and that's fine, but Nasus' main goal is freeze outside your tower and farm up your Q. So we'll see if he gets punished for doing that or not. Alright, good harass, but I want to see a lot more auto attacks coming out. Yeah. Also, you moved a little bit close. You could have auto-attacked you during that to even out the trade. So you need to worry about damage trades on both sides of this lane. As we see, the Null Magic Mantle isn't going to do much for him. He could have gone Doran's Shield. He could have gone Flask. Either of those two options probably would have given him more survivability. That being said, Ryze has run out of mana at this point for the most part, and is going to be pretty much forced into auto-attack harass. Another thing to keep in mind for Ryze is that you can break minion aggro so that you're not taking damage by auto-attacking and then immediately stepping into the bush right after. If the stream goes large enough and we have enough people on EU who want to do these, I would definitely consider doing one of the days on EU. That being said, we need about 100 players on that server in order to justify doing a workshop there. Alright, so Morgana's landing some decent bindings here. Not really in sync with your AD carry though, so that could be a communication issue from either of you, but you really, really need to be playing the lane as a unit. So when she lands a binding, you need to make sure that your team knows that that's what you're setting up. Quinn then needs to follow that up with her blind, with her vault, with her passive procs, and just doing that quick burst trade combo. In mid lane, farm's pretty much equal. No one has a real CS advantage or gold advantage. Annie, maxing out W, that's pretty standard. It looks like she's doing Rod of Ages build. I actually don't like Rod of Ages build. I prefer DFG. It allows you to zero out single targets, and that's super important. Good trade. A thing to keep an eye on, though, is level advantages. You know that she's already level 5, so she's going to hit level 6 first. You need to be paying attention to when she hits level 6, because that's her opportunity to kill you, and you need to have your stun up for that. Looks like Fiddle's trying to come in for a gank. He has flash, but yeah, nothing's really going to come from this, I don't think. Xin shows up for the counter gank. That's why she was staying there. That's fine. Back in bot lane, they try and throw the lantern. A little bit of miscommunication on purple team. I'm actually going to rewind that, see what set up that fight. Alright, so just a Morgana binding. So Quinn is focusing rather nicely this time. Very nice hook onto him. Black Shield a little bit late for Morgana, so you'll want to both go their separate ways. You can just send us a private message there, delay. Just use Twitch messaging services. Yeah, and we would greatly, greatly appreciate that. Welcome back, Worship. Alright, so Annie has her stun up here. Katarina's going to hit level 6. Probably not this wave. It should be one more. Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be like the second... Oh, sorry, I lied. It's the very last minion. I was going to say it would be the first or second of the second wave. Alright, that being said, Katarina is still shoving. I would be more impressed with Katarina if she sort of froze the wave a little bit and constantly harassed Annie out of lane. How do you get into these lanes? You can use the workshop command and it'll give you all the information on it. Alright, so Ruby Crystal is an okay start on supports. Oh, not quite able to connect on the binding. Yeah, if you're going to tank support, Ruby Crystal is alright, but I've kind of moved away from it myself. I'm more an Ancient Coin person on Thresh. This is dangerous. Fiddlesticks trying to counter jungle a Xin. If Xin showed up, he would probably be able to duel you, and then Katarina could show up and ult. Because yeah, Fiddlesticks is amazing at dealing with single targets, but not with multiple. Annie doesn't have her stun up here, so this is not a fight you want. Bad communication as well. She's not in position to follow this up. I mean, it's good damage you got on, but I would have been communicating that to your mid laner, saying like, okay, how long until stun? Can we set this up? And pinging the fight, so that at very, very least, even if Annie couldn't stun, throw a Q and W in, right? It's going to force her out of lane at that point. Back top lane, pretty much even in CS. Ryze is just going back for the first time now, so I'm interested to see if he teleports top or what's going on. Alright, so he's going for early armor, not tier. I would actually prefer to see him go tier. Oh, let's rewind that. Alright, so Katarina tries to go in. Annie has her ult and ignite, walks out of range. Alright, so W is going to come up here. Oh, this is way too slow. Alright, so she tries to flash in and goes into tower. Drops Tibbers, gets the full combo onto him, ignite, and then tower's going to clean up. And the auto attack, of course. Alright, so really good bait there coming in from Annie, but I do not know why Katarina would try and dive that. She didn't have the cooldowns to secure that. I understand that you're really, really close, but take the advantage of getting summoner skills. Take the advantage of forcing them out of lane. Experience is probably one of the most important things in a 1v1 lane. Alright, so let's take a quick look at his stacks. He's currently at 78. He could be doing better, but he hasn't really gone back either yet. Alright, so Fiddle's taking away his own blue, and he's not getting it this time, looks like. I lied, she took it. I was looking at the mini minions. Yeah, unfortunately, due to all the tournaments, we're pretty dead in terms of the stream. So this is what you expect to see from Nasus, just farm this up. I want to see him getting early CDR, though. That way he can constantly queue everything. Alright, nothing really going to come from this bot. Xin should not stay. Unless you're going to be able to 100 to 0 them yourself. I mean, Morg does not have ult, does not have exhaust. I understand what you're trying to do here, but it's probably not going to go in your advantage. Okay, they do secure it. I'm honestly surprised. He was taken so low that just slightly better positioning from Caitlyn would have been able to secure that. Alright, Fiddle is in behind Ryze. This is actually a pretty easy dive. I would expect him to start channeling the ult soon, but maybe they're going to just push in first. Honestly, just ult over the wall. Ult over the wall, fear him, he'll walk out into lane, and then you can flash after or just walk out. Come on, dude. You're waiting too long. Okay, there it goes. Who did he fear? Okay, so let's rewind that. Okay, so at this point, you flashed directly on top of him, and then you feared a minion. What should have happened, let's rewind that and we'll pause it. Okay, so you want to flash here, so that you're behind him. Then fear him immediately, so he walks out away from the tower and can't flash. Then you can silence him after the fear is about to wear off, so that he still can't flash. And you've pushed him towards Nasus, he's not in tower, and you're going to be able to deal damage to him. But instead, you're flashing directly on top of him. And then, unfortunately, you misclick and hit a minion. So that's just really poor execution of that gank. I just wanted to point that out because it bothered me. Alright, so Zin's trying to get in top lane here. Not really going to come from it, though. He is going to clear out the pink. So there's that. Back in mid lane, and he's starting to pick up a little bit of a CS advantage. Haunting Guise, really? Haunting Guise is fine on Annie, but why not just go DFG and one-shot her? Alright, so it gets caught out in the war there, nothing going to happen from that. Take another peek bot lane, pretty much dead even in terms of CS. Alright, so actually I want to rewind that because that was poorly executed. Okay, so instead of moving between your skills, you're standing directly next to a Nasus and spamming everything you have. As soon as that's done, okay, yes, it's Machine Gun Ryze, right? You're going to have cooldowns back up soon. But once that's done, what do you think Nasus is going to do? He's going to wither you, he's going to auto-attack Q you, he's going to ult you, and he's, of course, going to drop Spirit Fire during that fight. So let's just watch this through. If he were to start to position down between each of these movements, yeah, see, he just sort of runs away after. Reposition between skills, and you can continue chasing, or you can retreat. Either one of those is an option. And again, standing directly still, not moving, you're taking an auto attack, you're taking an E, you're taking an auto attack Q, then you're taking the ult, then you're going to take another Q in a second. You could avoid all of that damage simply by moving between your skills, moving between your auto attacks. I'm actually surprised Nasus didn't kill him there. It's probably because he didn't have Ghost. He could have chased that through. Oh, actually, let's rewind that now. Oh my goodness, there's so much happening on the map right now. Okay, so Xin catches him out, Fear goes down, Drain goes down, and that's just going to be Katarina cleaning up. I don't think anything else is really going to happen here. Oh, actually, Xin's chasing way too deep on that, and so he's going to be able to counter-engage. Once your skills are used like that, you probably just want to run away. Yeah, just because you're a mage doesn't mean that you should not be orb walking, auto attack resetting, whatever you want to refer to it as. Basically, walk between your skills, walk between your auto attacks, and you're always going to be in position if you're doing it right. So Annie has stun, she has flash, and yeah, she's not going to be able to finish this off though without ignite or alt. Yes, these are ranked workshops. Alright, so Morgana has alt and exhaust up, but no flash. Fiddle, I don't know. If they shove in, then he could gank. But outside of that, I don't see much purpose for him standing there. If I were him, just take away white, go farm, right? You want to finish up the rest of your items, so I would say that's a better option. Xin looks to be ganking top, but the binding does go down. Fiddle walks in, and Katarina loops around. I would have communicated that a little bit better. Let's actually pause that. Okay, so Katarina is coming down from the side. Morgana has exhaust. Morgana has alt. Morgana has black shield. Heal is up. Alt is up. Like, everything is up bot lane, right? So, why did Katarina not call for that fight? Morgana would have been able to set up an exhaust onto, let's say, Caitlyn. Okay, walk in, use your alt, black shield so you don't get feared away, and lock them in place. Katarina is then free to run in from the side, use her Q, use her E, use her W, use her alt, reset the fight, and then Quinn and her can clean up. That's what I would have wanted to see happen there. Let's just see if they set up anything here. See, now the exhaust goes down after the fight is already not necessarily lost, but after it's a little late. The lantern's right beside, so even if you ulted here, it's probably not going to do too much. Alright, so Katarina gets it. I don't understand Morgana holding on to her alt in these fights, though. If she did that earlier, they would have got 3 kills. I'm surprised that the lantern wasn't able to be picked up. I guess the bind duration was just long enough. Or they were standing on top of it. Staying on top of lantern is a great way to stop people from grabbing it, but I just think that could have been a lot smoother in the initial execution. The re-engage worked, though, so I can't really complain. Morgana was nearly Yes, but she could have initiated the fight using the alt, is what I'm saying. The initial engage should have been smoother, and it should have been earlier. Using the exhaust, using the alt, and the binding. Instead, she just sort of... She didn't waste her cooldowns, because, I mean, it worked. I can't complain. But the fight could have gone smoother, is what I'm saying. The decision-making on that fight was a little bit off, as was the communication. Looks like blue team is rotating in for Dragon. I really like that decision. Pink ward goes down. Good, good, good. Generally, you only want to do an objective if you can secure the vision control. Instead of rushing it, though, they're just sort of dancing around. Isn't Feral Flare better on Xin? Feral Flare is kind of a mediocre item in general right now. If he was able to farm through to like 30 minutes, yeah, Feral Flare would be better. But this gives him early damage and early ganking potential, so it's not a bad build. Okay, that works. I don't know, maybe it's just because I play so much Morgana, but I would have expected to see flashing on top of them then alting, so that they can't get away. But that being said, she still secured a kill and didn't have to waste her flash. I just think getting it onto the 3 people and making sure that you secured all the kills would have been slightly better. Alright, so that's a tower over to them. Morgana binding not quite connecting, but Katarina should be able to connect with this. She has her ult, she has Sigurd Knight. No real risk there. Just as a reminder, you do need to be following in order to qualify for the giveaway. Alright, looks like they are going to try for the mid gank. DFG, ignite all. Yeah, everything's good to go. That's going to be a free kill. Katarina is doing a good job of just controlling this game and roaming and being where she needs to be. I'm really still a little bit sad about Annie's build. DFG just would have been such a better option. Congrats on winning, Task Force. We're going to send that prize over at the end of this game. So Nasus is at 232 stacks. So he's doing pretty well. I don't know what the normal would be for people in his rating, but it's not a bad number of stacks by any means. I'm still surprised, though. No CDR on him. That's just it. Extra CDR equals extra stacks. The giveaway just ended. You have to be following the stream and then you type raffle. All of the information is listed in chat as the giveaways are running. Nothing gonna go down there. They're not far enough ahead to just end yet, but they're getting there. They can force teamfights with the Katarina being so far ahead, and it's going to go in their advantage. Ooh, I don't like the Soul Stealer, though. Katarina is not the most safe pick to use Soul Stealer on. If you have someone like a Lux, a Nami, someone like that who has so much defensive or peel abilities, then Soul Stealer is a much safer option. You're not even following the channel, Hale. But the giveaway is over, so that's fine. Yeah, he already won. Anyways, back to the game here. They're not quite far enough ahead to end, but with the Katarina being so far ahead, with the ability to lock down for him, using the Morgana, using even just like the Quinn damage and the Xin damage, they should be able to get the resets very, very quickly. In the meantime, though, Ryze does go down, and they get a tower off of it, so very nice rotation there. Yeah, Thresh still does not have Sweeping Lens. As soon as you get Sightstone, you want to swap out for Sweeping Lens. Alright, so... yeah, the delay made her have to burn her flash. If she just continued running, she would have been perfectly safe because of the movement speed you get from your ult. Okay, at this point, I want to see them forcing objectives. They're only about 3k gold up, but they can use that to secure towers. They can use that to secure dragons. They can use it to secure enemy buffs, even a Baron if they were to get some picks for themselves. Because they have some good consistent damage from Quinn, Ryze, Katarina, Xin. Like, they all do damage, right? So, that's what I want to see here. I want to see some wards being built up. Purple team has much, much better map control right now. I really have to give a lot of compliments for that. Fedor, please stop spamming. The RP giveaway, all the information is listed right on your screen. Or it will be when we're out of game. Alright, so trying to counter jungle is in this time again. I feel they should have learned their lesson last time. Katarina's just going to show up and going to get a free kill over for herself. The hook goes down though, and they're going to be able to zero out Katarina. This now puts Xin in a very bad place, but he should be able to escape. Ryze coming in from behind. Focusing the support though, I would have liked to see a little bit better focus there. Alright, Xin able to re-engage onto the support. And Morgana binding goes down, so that's going to be a kill over onto Annie. Ult goes down. Boom, that's a dead Annie. So because of those picks, they should be trying to push the inner mid tower is what my suggestion would be. Oh wait, is Dragon coming up? It's 40 seconds. You could have taken mid tower in that time. Or bot. Bot's fine too. Alright, so they're going to take away bot tower for themselves. I still feel they could have done inner mid, but that's fine. They're already in position for Dragon. Morgana, her sweeper's up, good. Sweeper that. Oh, not quite connecting. Because you are on this side of the map, Why would you look in the very, very back of the pit when you would be wanting to check a little bit further out? A little bit odd decision there. No, this is the last workshop game today. We are doing a second workshop game on Fridays starting next week. We're also going to be doing a bronze challenge all next week, offering specific advice on how to carry solo queue games in lower elo as a support. A very, very nice re-engage from Fiddle there, comboed it well with the Annie, and teleport coming in from NASA. Oh. Not going to turn into anything. Nice binding, I got to give props on that. Does the throw... Oh, nice hook. Very, very good job there, Bruce. So, blue team needed to break off and cancel the Fiddle ult. You saw him channeling it in full vision. If you don't cancel a Fiddle ult and you don't disengage, you're going to have a bad time, right? That's just a very poor decision on their part. Alright, so really good push coming in from purple team. They took the advantage of the dragon fight and secured objectives with it. And that's what I really like to see happening in these games, because it proves that you understand that kills are not what is important. Kills do not mean anything unless you can secure an advantage with them, whether it's an item advantage, whether it's an objective advantage, whether it's roaming, whether it's vision even, just like warding or pushing out a lane. These are very, very important. And so I really like to see them focusing a little bit more on objectives and globals here. Alright, so we have 3 people trying to collapse in onto Nasus here. He does turn and tries to fight, not able to connect on the combo there from Xin. Snare goes down. Oh, because of the snare though, the Morgana binding does not land. This rotation is a little bit slow from purple team, so this tower should go down in time. Katarina clearing out the pink ward. Oh, not able to take it down. Good wave clear. Not quite landing on the hook. Once the hook's missed, though, I would probably not go in on that. Fiddle ult is not quite up. Now it's up. I'm actually going to slow this fight down a bit here. Alright, so Xin is just a little too aggressive there. He's constantly re-engaging and trying to fight when his team's not in position. Caitlyn's way down here, Quinn's way down here. Katarina's back there. Like, I don't know. I don't know what the thought was on that fight. Xin just, his ult was down. Like, everything is blown. You might have been able to get away if you weren't constantly trying to fight and re-engage. Nice steal on the blue buff. I would actually be fine with him doing a Baron off that. Fiddle can drain tank that without any issues. You have the vision control. Like, I don't see much risk to that. In the meantime, Nasus is using up his Q stacks, just trying to take out towers as fast as possible. Works out very nicely for them. Gets the slow onto the rise. Let's see. Silence goes down. Caitlyn ult comes through. Not quite enough, though. Heals a little late, though. I would have healed beforehand. Nasus is able to clean that up using his lovely Q stacks. Caitlyn might want to reposition a little bit between these auto attacks. Same mistakes I mentioned earlier, not moving between auto attacks is putting you in a dangerous position. Katarina is now coming in, and you're going to be... Oh. Died before she was able to E, so she wasted part of her combo. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. They're going to take this down, no problem. Or maybe I spoke too soon. Alright, so she gets the speed buff from that, gets the Ignite on. DFG collides. 130, 93, 100. Yeah, he's going to live probably. Yep. So many flashes used. Well, that was some poor execution. Morgana wasn't able to quite land the binding, and they didn't fully body block the lanterns, so that could have gone a little bit better for them. A lot of that just boiled down to the miss combo from Katarina. You need to make sure that your E has already connected and you're repositioned before using the rest of your skills. Oh, we're being disconnected from Twitch right now. Cool. Alright, so Fiddle's trying to loop back around. His ult is ready. If blue team tries to start a Baron, they can't, right? Because Fiddle will just ult over the wall. You're going to take so much damage from being grouped in that. It's just not going to work out well for them. Fiddlesticks does not have his Hourglass finish, though, so they're going to want to wait on that before they try and really force a fight. Oh god, everything just broke again. Cool. Alright, so Ryze trying to teleport down to stop the Nasus split push, but that then means his teleport is down while Ryze's is up. That would be an option for them to try and force a Baron, but that's not going to happen. And as we see, Nasus has enough Q stacks. He's going to be able to chase us in. One more Q. There it is. Didn't even have to use his Q. Boom. Really good job. Oh my goodness, he's up to 400 stacks now. So good work on that. And he does have his CDR now to make this a functional stacking build. Alright, so he's going to get collapsed on though. Tries to teleport away, gets cancelled out. Very nice actually from Quinn. Quinn going in, Lantern drops. It's body blocked though. Of the split push that's been going on from Nasus and the towers they've taken, the gold advantage has pretty much been eliminated on blue side. They're only about 0.7, 0.8k up. Alright, now they're 2k up. Alright, good picks for blue team, and they're going to turn that into a blue buff as well. I really like the objective focus in this game. I mean, I had some complaints about it last match, so this is just really, really nice to see. Oh, if they can make a pick onto Annie here. No. They're not quite in position. Morgana would have had to lead in that fight with her binding. Alright, Annie gets knocked up. Flashes away. DFG used, actually, from Katarina. Ooh, that might be a kill. Not quite. But Thresh is in range. Flay not quite connecting. Nasus is still in the middle of them. Ryze is going to go down very, very quickly. Let's actually slow this down a bit. Very nice Flays. Just the chain of CC coming in here. Hook connects, and that's going to be a kill over to Nasus. Alright, so the recall goes off. Katarina escapes. Alright, so there goes the slow, the E, and the hook is going to connect, so that'll allow him to pull in, but it will not allow him to do anything else. Because that's just it, the Flay is not going to do anything to Black Shielded target. In the meantime, though, good positioning on the wall, but it gets broken before the Hourglass wears off. Katarina trying to go in, not on the back line, though. Immediately gets feared, silenced, rehooked, and she's going to die very, very quickly. Kill goes over to Fiddle. So that's decision-making issue from Katarina. You can't go in versus that many people who still have their CC up. Alright, and that's then going to be a very quick kill over. I keep speaking too soon. They're not quite following through as much as I would expect. At this point, Inhib is down. 18 seconds on Katarina. Looks like Nasus is going to try and take away the second tower, which, let's face it, not a bad choice, unless he gets caught out by Ryze. I like how he actually did go for Hex Drinker after I said, oh, I couldn't imagine him building Hex Drinker. I think he's trying to prove a point. Alright, so in the meantime, Fiddle can just drain tank this. Nasus is just being a bully. He's in their face, making sure they can't check that. Even once he dies here, which he's going to, it's not going to really harm his team. They're going to have secured this by that point, or they should have secured this by that point. Alright, Fiddle, don't miss your smite. Good job. Fiddle ult is still up, and his flash is up. Honestly? No, just back out. The decision to stay on that was a little odd. Katarina not quite connecting. And Quinn's going to be able to clean this up with her ult. No point watching that. Oh, a lot of people are talking about shutting down Nasus, denying him farm. It boils down to wave control. You need to be able to control the wave. You need to freeze it exactly where you want it, and then never let your opponent near the wave. That's how you shut down Nasus. If you cannot freeze the wave, if you're not comfortable with wave control, please look up some YouTube videos on it. There's many, many good guides on how to freeze the wave, to control it, to zone. It's something you have to watch. It's not something that can really be described. No, the problem was that you kept pushing the wave or not freezing the wave effectively. That was the main issue I noticed with Ryze. Alright, so at this point they can just end the game. What I would like to see is Nasus top, 4 people bot. They can siege this tower so quickly, and Nasus, they need 3 people if they're going to try and shut down Nasus. Maybe 2, if they're lucky. So yeah, just send him top. If they leave him alone for 2 seconds, boom, your tower and inhib is gone. If they leave bot alone, boom, we've just taken 2 towers in your inhib. Alright, so Nasus is going top, but there's no pressure applied across the rest of the map. Alright, I want to rant for a second. And I'm not ranting at players in this game, and I'm not ranting about anything in particular. It's pointless, so take this with a grain of salt. But in solo queue, split pushing is one of the best ways to win games. Team fights, who cares? Unless you're super, super far ahead, unless your team comp is so infinitely better at fighting 5v5 than the other team, don't do the ARAM dance. Don't just all go mid and say, okay, we're going to take mid now, let's fight. Because, well, why bother, right? When you can instead outposition, outplay, outrotate the enemy team. So, what Nasus is doing here is definitely correct. This is how you want to apply pressure. That being said, there's no pressure anywhere else on the map. Nothing's pushing in this bot tower, nothing's pushing in mid, well, there's nothing to take mid, but the rest of the team, they're farming jungle, they're back at their inner tower mid, they're in the other side of jungle, there's no one to help Nasus if he gets caught, and there's nothing to push an advantage if he gets caught. So, when you see your team doing this, you need to say, okay, first of all, is split pushing a good idea right now? If it is, then follow up that play, okay? So at this point, I want to see 4 people bot lane. I want to see them forcing that, or I want to see them keeping people busy mid lane. Either of those 2 options is fine. Fiddlesticks, if he lands a good ult, would set up very good team fights with Annie. So I would even be fine with them going mid. But again, I want to see pressure applied if they're going to try and do this with Nasus. And that's a huge rant I have against solo queue, and it's incredibly frustrating to watch. So that's what I wanted to go on and on about. Alright, so Nasus, good decision to back out there. Make sure that you're not going to get caught out. But again, the rest of your team needs to be doing something. And it's your responsibility to make sure your team knows what they need to do. And that's not saying, GG noobs don't know how to split push. It's saying, hey guys, I'm going to go top. If they send someone to stop me, we could take bot tower. Or, guys, a 1-4 split might be a good idea. Would you guys mind pushing bot? Or, we can team fight. Or something, right? You need to make plays for your team. In the meantime, Thresh does get caught. Nasus tries to teleport into this, but that is far too late on that. If Fiddle ends this ult, which he's going to, so it's a very good ult, they may be able to clean up. Caitlyn, going on to Katarina, but that's going to get blocked out by Ryze. They re-engage onto Xin. Xin has been out of position in a lot of these fights, so I'm a little disappointed in that. Annie is only now rejoining the fight. Her stun is not up, but Tibbers, after that damage, is able to get the reset. I want to see Nasus landing a slow here onto Quinn. In the meantime, though, Katarina goes down. Slow is up. Instead, though, he delays, so he's not able to He's not able to slow her and has to instead go on to Morgana. I'm not sure why you're walking away. I mean, yes, you want to block it out. I guess he's just going to feed it over to his team, so that's fine. He's going to be able to take away Inhib Tower. This is probably not going to... this is probably going to be the end of the game here. So that's fine. Oh, I'm giving generic comments. I'm not saying he's not communicating with his team. I'm saying it looks like your team's not following instructions. This might be something you want to think about. This is not so much for this one player. This is for all players who find themselves in these situations. Consider a workshop a homework assignment. It's saying, here's some ways that you can improve your gameplay. Now fix them, right? Yeah, there was a lot of misplays in that team fight. In the meantime, though, they do take away and win the game. So good job on finishing this out. As a reminder, all of these games will be uploaded to YouTube, so we strongly, strongly encourage you to watch them back after the fact so you can get some feedback. Let's make sure this loads back up properly. So generic builds, I don't like Essence Reaver. It's a bad item. I don't know why you would build it on Quinn, because she's not mana hungry. So I don't like that. You also have no lifesteal, so you can't duel anyone. Strongly, strongly disagree with that build. Infinity Edge is fine, but I might suggest something like a Blade of the Ruin King. It gives you dueling potential, and that's what that's what Quinn excels at. I saw some comments from Morgana in chat asking what she could do better. Please wait your turn. I'll go over it here. I strongly, strongly suggest watching back the videos on YouTube. That is the point of these, so you can watch your gameplay. Rise, his build is fine. He never did get to upgrade his Tear of the Goddess into anything. We had some comments on freezing wave more effectively, zoning more effectively, repositioning more effectively. That was touched on in the match itself, but his build overall, it's fine. I don't have any issue with it. Katarina, her build is pretty standard. I might have expected to see Source Boots, but because Source Boots with Home Guards are disabled currently due to a bug, I could understand why you'd want some other boot so that you can Home Guard around. Xin, a lot of damage with a decent amount of tank. I'm fine with his build. Morgana, pretty standard. I might have wanted to see a... I'm surprised there's no Crucible. You have Nasus Slow, you have Annie-Stun, you have Fiddle Fear, you have Thresh Hook, you have Thresh Slow, you have Fiddle Silence. There's so many things that you might want to cleanse that not having one seems like a very large oversight to me. That being said, having the Aegis is also required because you're versus an Annie Fiddlesticks. So I'm not saying that your build is bad, I'm saying this is something you might want to consider if the game went longer, if you're able to get more gold, etc. Caitlyn, I don't like Static Shiv on Caitlyn, but it's fine. I would have expected to see Phantom Dancer instead. Her build overall is pretty standard. Nasus, Hex Drinker is okay in this matchup, but I would not expect to see it on Nasus. I also would have expected to see earlier cooldown reductions so that you could stack your Qs even more effectively, although you did fine on them. Annie, I would have liked to see an earlier Deathfire Grasp. DFG Void Staff, naturally no. Yeah, DFG Void Staff Hourglass Death Cap is sort of what I would expect to see on Annie. The alternative being Rod of Ages if you wanted to be a little bit more tanky, but DFG would have allowed you to burst and maybe win lane a little bit harder. Fiddlesticks' build it's fine. No real complaints there. I might have expected to see Home Guard boots. Going Home Guards and Boots Mobility, so that you can get into position to land ults that much easier. But again, at the end of the day, it's fine. I mean, you played quite well. Thresh build is fine. Yeah, no huge issues or main misplays in terms of items. So overall, great job to everyone. Thank you so much for taking part in the workshops. I really do enjoy seeing people improve week over week, and I really enjoy seeing new players joining in. As a quick heads up, we are adding a second workshop day. Those are going to be happening on Fridays at 6 p.m. Eastern.